Right, hi everyone. I'm usually at the back asking difficult questions, so you can get your own back today. Building an emotional connection with your reader. So I've been doing this for a little while. I started off doing SEO back in mid-90s while I was studying. Built a small web agency while I was at uni, grew that, sold it, then started a SaaS business with a couple of friends. I decided it wasn't for me. I wanted to work in advertising. I wanted to go big. So I sold my shares, exited that business, took a job and toured the London ad agencies for a number of years. And then realized that there's something missing and I wanted to create real value. So 2 years ago I started Camino, my business, to serve owner-operated businesses in a different way. You know, we're on a bit of a mission. We want to teach people how to buy and sell advertising in a different way. We want to bring back direct response and performance marketing and make performance marketing more digital. So these are some of the brands I've worked for. Just a smidge. We did the first ever commercial Facebook campaign in the UK for Stella Artois. That was early 2000s. That was quite good fun. And again, all this Facebook posts and all this stuff is quite relevant to that because copy is just a natural part of everything and people overlook it. You know, whenever I used to say to my clients, we need to get a copywriter on this, they'd say, well, why do we need a copywriter? Can't we just write it ourselves? My answer was, well, how well do you know your customer? How well does your copy work? I mean, how do you know you can write it? Everyone can write, we can all communicate. But communicating the basic needs of a product and communicating in context is really, really difficult. And Tom gave you a really cool structure. I advise everyone to use that. You know, the structure is labeled out. The process is a really clean way of writing copy. And if you just want some practice, just do it. The best way, the way I learned and the way most of my peers learn, is to copy other people's copy. Write it out. Just buy books of copywriting, find great ads and just rewrite them yourself. That's the best way to learn. So I'm not going to do the rest of that. Let's get to the meat because the rest of that's boring. If you want to keep connected, I'm on Twitter @StrategyDigital. This was in the days when it was cool to hide your name, but I kept it because I think it's cool now to be cool, now that I wear a shirt. Facebook, I've got a couple of groups, marketing.life, and there's a content creation ideas generation group that I also run, so plug there. If anyone wants to come up with some ideas for content, there's a group, it's quite active. If your copy is good, people will respond and help you to come up with some better ideas. I'm also on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect. Another quick plug before I go. I'm currently looking for an account manager. If anyone knows any account managers or someone looking for a job in advertising, please let me know. Here we go. So I promised you today 4 things. Tom said we had to do 5, but I couldn't think of a 5th one that was worthy enough of you, so I stuck to 4. How to write copy that engages with your prospects in a dialogue. Second one is how to build an emotional connection with them. How to make it so SEO juicy that search engines are going to fall over themselves to rank your content in the top 5. And the 4th one is how to measure commercial impact. And let's remember this, you know, everything we're doing in a commercial context has to have a response. So we need to frame our copy with a result in mind. And the way we do that is this experience loop. We developed this at Camino. It's work I've been building for the past 5 or 6 years now. And this allows us to be in context of a customer. Writing copy is about speaking to that customer at that moment, the moment that's relevant to them. There is some more detail on this. When you get the slides, feel free to click the links and find out. But people are essentially in 4 states when they're looking at your product. Before they know who you are, they've not even met you yet, they've got a problem and they don't know what the solution to that problem is. They're in the explore phase. They're looking for solutions. They don't know what the solution is. They don't even know that the solution exists. It's possible. But they're researching and they're madly typing on Google and asking their friends and saying, how do I fix this problem that I have? Then they find a short list of solutions and they start researching them. And they're like, oh, wow. You know, there's a smartphone that can do this, or there's a piece of wearable tech that can do that, or, you know, a publisher that can help me get my content in front of the right people. And they start researching and thinking, well, okay, these are my options now. Shortlist again. Let's now consider them against each other and which one do we want to go with? Let's verify that our shortlist is able to deliver on that promise. Then they go to this line, and this dotted line here is quite important. Prior to this dotted line, they're in the traditional funnel of let's get them to take action with us. After this dotted line, they've actually transacted with you. I've put purchase here because everyone understands purchase and it's more attention grabbing than just, engage. But when they sign up or when they give you their details or when they come to your website, that's a transaction. They've taken time out. And in the world of UX, people calculate the cost of a click versus the cost of a scroll versus the cost of giving information. Anytime someone is giving you something, they are transacting with you in return for you giving them back something else. So in the context of this loop, we've now got them here with our great copy. Our copy has to do another job to get people to enjoy that process. Then we have to engage with them, which requires even more content. Get them to participate, and this could be a Facebook post. We've put it out there. People love the post. They start engaging with it. You need to respond to them. You need to get involved and participate. Respond to me in a language they understand, which will cause a bond, create a bond, then get them to advocate you. By them responding to you, they're already advocating you without even trying it, because their friends can see that they've commented on your post. That then brings them back in this loop, and other people are just verifying. So instead of a linear customer journey, we now got a cyclical journey. There's more detail on that on my site. I'm going to refer back to that. But in essence, it's 4 stages. People are in the I want to find out. I want to know I'm making the right choice. I want to have a great purchase experience. And I want to share my experience and help others solve similar problems. Help others is the key here. We're built to want to help other people. If we've got a solution, a pain that we can solve, we want to help other people solve that pain because we've now done it for ourselves. It's a natural. So the point of all this is you want to create copy that does a job, but you want the product and the environment to do a bigger job of creating copy for you. If you do a really good job here, a really good job here, a really good job here, and half a job here, you're leaving money on the table. You've got to do a good job here as well, almost more importantly than the job you're doing at the top where you're spending money. Because the job here is going to help your audience create content for you in these other stages. Your customers will then start referring you and creating the best type of content for your business. We call that social proof. If you go to an ad agency or a business or a social media consultant, they'll say, yeah, we need to generate some social proof. What is that? Reviews. People using your product, pictures, Instagram. I know there's a couple of people in the audience from the fashion industry. Instagram is massive for fashion. Social proof is people wearing your stuff. You get advocates at the higher level. You get the rappers and the celebrities endorsing your product by wearing it. But the real social proof comes from the everyday people wearing it. We see Kim Kardashian doing pictures, probably a bad example, but doing photo shoots on Instagram, and then Kanye West is suddenly selling thousands of trainers. But it's about getting normal people to wear it and start talking about it. So that's the job. So why is this important for copywriting? I had to do this bit to frame it. I promise the rest of it is more about people. One of my favorite copywriters was around in the 1800s, Robert Collier. And he made this quote that's quite poignant. And any time I write something, or be it an ad, an email, a response to a question on Facebook, or any point of that experience loop, always enter the conversation taking place in the customer's mind. There is an inner dialogue that your customers are having at every single touch point they engage with you. Your content, irrespective of formulas or long form, short form copy, your content will work a lot harder and you'll get a higher conversion rate at each step if you do this. So if we just go back to here, when people are trying to find out and you're trying to sell to them, they're going to switch off. If people are in a research frame of mind, they're looking for a solution, you need to talk to them in that solution. You need to talk to them in a way that they understand you're trying to help them. They now want to know they're making the right choice. Point them to places that verify, validate that you are the right choice for them, or include that in your copy. If you're writing a long form sales letter, people write Still write direct response long form letters, 1,000+ words in a sales letter, in an envelope with a tea bag stapled to it, and it generates more meetings than LinkedIn prospecting would. But you go through this process in your copy and you think, what they want to find out about me. They want to verify that I'm the right solution. They want to have a great experience. How do we make that happen? And they want to share that experience with other people. At each stage of this journey, think about what's going on in the customer's mind and include that in your own writing, and you'll go a lot further. So how do we do it? Well, this is a typical persona building matrix, right? Has everyone heard of personas? Does everyone know what a persona is? Archetype, customer. So your ideal customer, and there's lots of ways to understand your ideal customer. This is one way of doing it. I'm going to show you, I haven't got time to go into the full process, but I'm going to give you what I think you can use. There is a full 6-step process for this. Let me know if you're interested, and I'll send you some slides or a template over, or Tom can facilitate that. But you need to know who your customer is before you start talking to them. Before we even start thinking about their experience with you and how that ties into the experience loop, we need to get under their skin. We need to know who they are so we can understand what it is that they're probably thinking. Let's assume their internal dialogue. So this example is Mike. He has excess cash at the end of every month that he spends on his hobbies. He loves Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. He's around 28 years old, so he's probably our age, right? He's in middle management, self-employed. He likes YouTube, Reddit, Google search to watering holes. This is really important. Where'd they go for research? So he's earning between 50 and 65 per annum. He's got a competitive edge. He's respectful and hardworking, high standards, willing to pay for service, works as a developer, a project manager, account manager, or in finance, and he values high-end service, reading, keeping up to date, and he likes photography. His working habits are that he's very organized, he's disciplined by lifestyle, delegates smaller things to other people in his team, and he takes a measured approach, very calculating. Now, if you want to sell to someone like Mike, you have to tap into his interests, his habits, understand that he takes a measured approach. So when you're trying to talk to him, give him the information that he needs to build the case to then consider and verify your solution. The way we use that is by pressing on the nerve. What are the pains that Mike has that we can fix? What are the pains that he's suffering that your product has as a solution? Wants to be at the forefront of tech, constantly looking for great pictures, wants to be regarded as an Instagram professional, recently dropped and broke his smartphone. Can you imagine a world without a smartphone? 2 days without a phone, I'd be going nuts. When does it trigger? When do these pains actually trigger for him? Whilst commuting, whilst out at weekends, when he's seeking a picture opportunity, or when he looks through his Instagram feed? You know, why is this important? Well, he wants to be at the forefront of tech. He loves taking great pictures. He's just dropped his phone. He's got no camera. While he's commuting, if he sees an ad, the only thing on his mind now is, how can I replace my phone? What phone shall I get? He'll be looking. Things that fix his pain will be like a beacon to him at the moments that pain exhibits itself. While he's commuting, if he sees an ad for a mobile phone, that ad will now pop out at him the way it never popped out before. He might have walked past that ad 5 times already and not realized it, but now he needs a new smartphone. He's at that point where he's experiencing that pain. He knows that that's where he needs the phone. Likewise with, let's do the Facebook chains example. Can I use your example? So, the gold chains. Someone's going to an event, they might want some new jewelry. They might want to flash something new. It's just end of the month, they've just got paid, they're going to a barbecue or something. They're actually looking for this type of content. When you start searching for things, Facebook's algorithm starts showing you adverts that are relevant to the things that you're searching for. So if someone's in the market for a product, they're going to see that product while they're in the market for it. Back to the experience loop, if they're researching a product, you need to show them a few variations of it. Facebook now does a slideshow ad, so you can show 5 or 6 different products in one go. They also do a version of Google Shopping that you should probably get on, where you can start showing ads when people are ready to buy. If they've been researching already, Facebook knows they've been researching, they will show you examples of products that suit your research. Straight to consider, verify, bam. If you've got social proof, you've made the sale. So for Mike, he's recently dropped his smartphone. He's got no Instagram feed. He's not able to take pictures. He's commuting. He's on the train. He doesn't know what to do. So back to the loop. How would he research a new phone? Any ideas? What do you do when you need to buy a new phone?
Online or just walk the shops, like halfway my house or something like that.
So let's take online because it's easier.
Yeah.
And I think I've got an example for online.
I hate going into phone shops.
What's the first thing you would do?
Just Google it, yeah.
Just Google it.
Yeah.
So first thing you do looking for a new phone is go to Google and search for a new phone. Right. So that's great. So we can simplify this into 4 stages. Between here and here, we can break that content down into four levels. The first one is problem. People have a problem, they're looking for a solution. People understand what their problem is, they're looking for stimulus to resolve it. This is when you prove your credibility. People are considering the solution that we're offering to their problem. They're now comparing you against their own set of key factors. And they're assessing what's going to tip them over the edge. In sales, we call this the rebuttal phase. What are the rebuttals? What are the things we have to overcome in order to get that sale moving? So Mike searches for best smartphone, puts a search into Google and says, what's the best smartphone 2018? And these are, I used a free tool for this, you all know it, it's spelled google.com. And you type in what's the best smartphone in 2018. At the very bottom of the search listing, you get Google suggested searches. So you can all do this for your own businesses, your own industries, no cost, it's completely free. I probably do 100 of these searches a day. What are other people searching for in relation to my product? And this gives you an idea of the search terms they're using, the type of language they're using, the order of phrases, and also the content you need to produce. Now, I told you I'd make you SEO heroes in 2 minutes. I can't keep that promise fully, but I can go a little way. When you search for these topics, and these are the things that people are searching for, if you use these search phrases in your content as your title, you've got a far higher chance of ranking than if you don't use it. You know, sorry.
You've got much higher chances
of ranking. You asked if you have much higher chance of ranking than not ranking. So if you just released a piece of content, if your content is targeted at these searches, to be in these searches, you have to be in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It varies between 6 and 10, or 6 and 12 sometimes. But to get into this top list, you have to have the majority of searches that are relevant for that topic. So if you want to appear in front of the right people, create content that satisfies the Google suggested results. So we take this one, the best phone for photography, did a quick search. I'm now in my awareness stage. I've searched for the best phone for photography because Mike loves taking pictures, wants to be an Instagram hero, hasn't got his phone, all he cares about is a phone with a great camera. Best phone for photography, you see the Google shopping results, and then you start to see all this other stuff. And these listings are brilliant. If you can get in these listings, you're onto a winner. Reason being, people love lists. Create them yourself. People love lists. What are the top 5 mobile phones for photography? Well, we've got top 12 here. I think I did this search 3 times before the presentation, and I found different lists at the top each time. But if we look at the top slots, it's Samsung, Huawei, Google Pixel, Apple, and they're the 12 best camera phones. And then we've got a paid ad here and Google shopping ads. These ads typically work really well, but they work once people have already done their research. If you're spending money here, you're spending money to sell, but if your sales are dropping off, what you need to do is increase demand. And the way you do that is by answering these questions with content like this. Content that appears in search, or video content. Video is the untouched hero of search at the moment. It's easier to rank videos than anything else at the moment. So, best phone for photography. Let's just take a couple of examples. This is the awareness stage. We move into consideration. So Mike's chosen 2 phones, Huawei and Samsung. Now you look at the landing pages of these 2 phones. For someone who wants a camera phone, which one's more appealing? Left or right? That's left. Left to right, yeah? So you can already spot that. Good copywriting is not just about the words, it's about the communication. Now let's think about it. If we gave Mike this web page when he was researching, it would mean nothing to him. But it's now gone through the awareness phase, it's been validated, he's been made aware of it. This page is now much stronger than this page. This page is designed to sell based on brand loyalty. This page is designed to sell because it's a challenger brand and it's just launching. Now the other key factor, does anyone like taking pictures in the room? Yeah? So, you see this red dot here? For a photographer, this is like chocolate. I was going to say something else, but it's like chocolate. Leica is basically one of the top camera brands. They're one of the highest quality lenses, the highest quality cameras. They're really high premium value. So this phone having this badge on it means that the lens is of a certain level of quality. And that already now helps with consideration. So Mike wants a camera phone, that's a camera phone. This doesn't talk about cameras for his specific need. Then we look deeper at the page and we look at the way they've structured the page. It's all about the camera. So for someone who is interested in that, that's their thing. Talk to them about that main rub. And the point of this, what I'm trying to tell you is when you're writing your copy, write your copy that solves the pains of your customer. You know, we need to work on their insecurities. We need to work on making them feel like they can't do without your product. And the way you do that is by connecting with them and saying, well, we understand your problem. We understand your pain. I know that you lost your smartphone. You can't take pictures anymore. I'm really sorry for you. But you want to take the best pictures possible. This is the product that's going to do it for you. And you structure that in a way that you actually give examples of the product working in situ. I love the pictures on the email. I love those photos. Because those photos, they probably mean nothing to us in this room. But if you're living that lifestyle when you want to get frosted up, having the chain in your mouth, with, you know, that's the tattoos and the whole look. That's the lifestyle. And that's why that copy works even better. Put it without the photos, it wouldn't be as powerful. When you add the photography in there, the copy just pops, but the copy has to match, the words have to match the pictures. So what does this all mean? Well, basically, this is a typical funnel. Has anyone seen a funnel? You've all seen this, right? It's like, yeah, we put money in here, and people click on our ads, they arrive at our website, they give us some details, and then they give us some money. Well, if you think about where your copy sits within this, we can improve this in a number of ways. Now, spending money to improve your copy up here has less of an impact than spending money to improve your copy back here. If you've got a limited budget and you want to start writing copy and generating sales, I would do it on this side, because attracting the right customer and giving them the right product at the point of sale will generate more sales. Generating more sales is always more profitable than driving more traffic. The same traffic with a higher conversion rate on sales is going to make more money than the same traffic with a lower spend on advertising, because your conversion rates are higher down here. So this is still relevant. However, we're in a circle, we're linear. I'm showing you this weird kind of French horn looking thing that's like a bit of a spiral. The previous funnel works until this point, and you measure it here. What I'm trying to help you with now is to say, well, that previous funnel still works, take it. But think about when people are looking for your product, what are they looking for? When you're writing your ads, when you're writing your Facebook posts, talk to the interests and the pains of your audience. Talk to your customer as an individual. Try to understand them as a person and try to understand their needs and write copy that works to those needs. Then when they come in and try and decide if your product's correct for them, look at the things that they're looking for in your product. I know you can ask them. When people get to this phase, the great thing here is that your engagement with them is actually your customer research. When people come through the funnel and they've just interacted with you, hey man, what did you like about that product? How are you getting on? Or we noticed you just signed up for our free webinar, or you just downloaded a product from us, or you came in to check out one of our chains. What did you think about it? What did you like? What didn't you like? What can we do to help you improve that? This is the best customer research, the best focus group you could possibly do. And what you're doing here is you're actually building your brand and helping to build your tribe. Because by engaging with people and getting them to respond, they're now participating with you, which creates that bond and builds advocacy. Next time oh yeah, I know that guy, he asked me for my opinion. How many brands actually care anymore? When's the last time a brand asked you for something related to you? Everyone's getting customer service surveys. How did we do today? Who cares? I'm done. I've bought my product. I'm out of here. You know, I don't want to spend. Why am I giving my time to you? You're asking me to transact again after you spent money. That's like buying a car with no wheels. And the guy's saying, yeah, the wheels are extra. What we should be doing at this point is saying, how did we do for you? How do you feel about your purchase? Turn it round, make it about them. Then you'll start to get some real value out of these post-purchase questionnaires. And by engaging and building your audience, you can say, look, we're really grateful for you. Thank you. Here's a promotion. 20% off your next order. And by the way, if you introduce another friend, we'll give them 20% too, and we'll say it's from you as a thank you, as a nice gesture. I'm not going to quote exact figures, but you'll more than double your revenue if you start doing that. Measurement, the fourth promise. This is how we design new funnels today. We don't look at funnels as a single funnel. It's like, I've got a sales funnel. No. You've got a funnel for every problem. Every pain that your customer has creates a new funnel. So your top of funnel, so let's do some marketing bullshit. Should we do some marketing bullshit? Tofu, bofu, mofu. No, mofu's not one. Tofu, yeah. Mofu, bofu, yeah, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. I was trying to be rude, but it didn't work. Top of funnel stuff is how you generate interest, how you get people to your website. Middle of funnel stuff is kind of here, which is once people have arrived at your site, they now give you permission to talk to them. And we're doing permissions in two ways. Who received a GDPR email? I had to say it. That is not what this is about. People ask you to contact them and keep talking to them. At the top of funnel, we cookie them typically. They come to our website, they click, yes, I accept cookies. They're actually opting in for marketing communications without knowing it. Because you can now follow them around with your ads. But they're still in a research phase. A true marketing qualified lead is MOFU, middle of funnel, where people have given you permission to contact them, smartphone, SMS, email, face-to-face, phone number. They've given you permission to talk to them because they want to know more. They're now in consideration phase. So your middle of funnel content is about consideration and verify. How do we get people over the line to have a sales conversation? BOFU is your bottom of funnel, where they're raising their hand and saying, I'm interested. Now, one way they can actually do this, very cheaply, is they've looked at your sales page. They've gone through your process, they've looked at your checkout page, they didn't buy. What do we call that in the industry? Abandoned cart. Abandoned cart can be served in multiple ways. Facebook ads, Google ads, even emailing them. If they've given you their email address in order to get to the checkout page and they've dropped off, you're now allowed to email them and say, hey, why did you drop off? You know, come back, we'll give you some kind of incentive to purchase. They've already gone, you've spent the money getting them there. Discounting your product at that point is not going to lose you money, it's going to make you money. So when you're thinking about your copy, think about it in terms of a funnel and think about it in terms of the state of mind of the customer at each stage in the experience loop. What are they trying to achieve? And talk to their inner dialogue. Respond to the questions they're asking themselves, and that's how your copy is going to work really well. So that's me. There's an email address there, hello@camino.co.uk. Any questions? So the question was, if I'm writing my articles and trying to optimize for the related searches that people are making, am I going to be up against more competition? The truth is no, because most other people aren't doing this. There'll be a few people doing it, and frankly, you know, they know what they're doing, so you're up against SEO pros now, because this is how the pros do it. The professionals want to make their lives easy, but the whole market is taken up by novices. There's people that don't actually know what they're doing. So by using those key terms, you're better off using them than not using them. You know, there are 10 main optimization factors: your URL, file name, your page title, the title on the article, Keywords in the tags, related images. I'm testing myself now. Page speed is a big one now. Is it mobile responsive? That's another big one. Links coming into the page from social media links. Back to the verify point. If people are sharing your page and saying, hey, check this out, it's a great product, you're generating social proof that's going to help your SEO. By talking to people as people, I would call it people first marketing. People first marketing is different to customer first or customer centric. We treat people as individuals. If you're talking to them as people, means that they respond to you as a person. They don't respond to you as a supplier. And it allows you to have a conversation. So your SEO is now helping them solve their problem in a way that they're looking for it. As long as you're in the top 5, it's good enough. If you do a video, chances are you'll be 6, but they'll still click on you because people like to watch video more than they like to click now. We're witnessing this trend. So yeah, you're not up against much.
Okay, but how do I know, how long does that take effect usually to know if that
Depends. So how long does it take to show effect? It depends on how well your site is optimized. So I would look at making sure your site is indexed. I don't want to get too much into SEO because this isn't really an SEO talk. But if your site has already got basic search optimization, it will happen the next time you index your site. So if you go to your webmaster tools and you ask Google to have a look, you'll start to see yourself in the search results. Typically between 24 hours and 4 days. So the question is, how does this work when the pain is not overt in a luxury industry? Yeah. So I actually have a client who does ceramics. She's an artist and we're helping her build her new website. And there are people looking for ceramics. There are people looking for art. It's a growing industry. People who have, what we're witnessing is two main factors that contribute to that. Home buying. People buy their first home, and there's more people buying homes than ever, regardless of price. There are people buying homes or renting their own places, and they want something special. So their pain is actually they want to stand out. So the pain is they want something unique. Ceramic is a new form of art, and it's something unique. It's a talking point. So the second pain is that they want to create conversation when friends come to their house to visit. So if we take the new home buyer, and if we're aiming at people who have just moved into a new property, they'll be trying to do a number of things. One would be create a talking point in their room, have something special that makes it their own, maybe work to a theme, decorate their house to a particular theme, depending on the ceramicist they choose. And they'll be searching for these things, and they'll be looking for decorative pieces for fireplaces. I mean, if you search for ceramics, or ceramic art, or ceramic pieces, or recent ceramic exhibitions, you'll see in the suggested listings what other people are searching for, and you can base your content around that. This is a farm for content ideas. You never run out of content ideas. You just got to do 2 things: is know your customer, imagine your customer, and build out the matrix, the persona matrix for them. Work out what their pains are as a result of their lifestyle and what they're suffering, and work out when they're suffering those pains. And from there, you can then start to think about the searches that they're going to be making online, and find those suggested answers, and then write content that solves those questions, those problems. Okay, the question is, how often does someone have to update the web page or the video? Every day. You don't need to update your videos every day. Don't create new videos every day. That would be really, really expensive, unless you're a TV channel or a broadcasting network. But you should definitely be uploading video content monthly, and you should be uploading at least 1 piece of content every week. So, can I talk a little bit SEO? Yeah? All right, so Google search clusters, content clusters are the new thing. If your site is not directly relevant to a unique idea or a unique thing, but it's relevant to lots of things that are relevant to that unique thing, you will still rank for that thing. And this is the content clustering. People are going to start talking about it in about 9 months' time. So you're a little bit ahead of the curve here. Your content needs to be in the periphery of your main idea. So find the pain, solve that pain, and then write copy on the periphery. So if it's snowboarding, you've got a piece of technology that tethers someone's phone to their jacket, so they can now dial from their jacket without taking their gloves off. That's a great convenience. But in order to attract that person, you have to write content about snowboarding as well. Because in the research phase, if we go back to the experience loop, hobbyists are great. If someone's infatuated with their hobby, every spare moment they've got, they're going to be searching for it. And if someone's into ceramic art, they'll be searching for art and ceramic art and different things, exhibitions, galleries. Who are the artists? How can I get immersed in this interest? Same with snowboarding. They'll be looking at boards, they'll be looking at chalets, they'll be looking at ski holidays, they'll be looking at clothing, they want to be ahead of the trend and involved in the fashion. Now your periphery content needs to satisfy that. They're exploring for content around their interest. So Tom mentioned the hustle. They'll be interested in, how do I create a doorstep barbershop? How do I create a bicycle messenger service in my neighborhood? How do I create ways to make money? And that's the lifestyle of this customer. And that's how you build a community. You show them you understand their interests and you understand them at a deeper level through the content you create. That content then drives them to finding your actual products later on, because they trust you now, you're part of their lifestyle. They find your products and they already know you, there's validation there. So you've got points down here. Then you consider that your product satisfies their current needs, either by price, solution, pain solution. They're already verified because you've given them great stuff and they love you for it. They already trust you, they've consumed your content and enjoyed it already. They might be on your newsletter, so that it's a much easier sale. So now we're leveraging the same traffic, but generating much more sales from it. And this is part copywriting, but it's 100% understanding your customer. You've got to get under the skin of your customer and really understand where they are and who they are and what they care about, and then deliver content to them that solves that. And that doesn't need to be sales copy. It is, but it's how you scale. Now, we're seeing paid advertising change. We're seeing the effectiveness of paid advertising drop off. The paid ads that are working now are ads that serve people to a page which gives them a solution to a problem. If you're selling directly, you're going to get immediate high bounce rate. And the way Google is optimizing this is time on site. People that spend more time on your site makes your advertising cheaper. So if you're providing content that's more valuable to people, your advertising budget's going to start going further. Your ads are going to get in front of more people, you're going to get more visitors, you're going to spend more time, and it's going to work better. So yes, it's time consuming, but it's the right way of doing things. The other thing is that your competition, who are not investing the time, are going to be investing their money and spending more to do this over time. So their investment in short-term wins is going to cost them longer term down the line, and you're going to be there with all of this periphery content in your content clusters, great written copy that solves the need at each point in the journey, and you're going to be all over that customer. So as soon as your competition starts running out of budget, you're already there, winning new customers. And you do this through content creation. You can do this without spending a penny on advertising, it just takes a bit longer.
I just want to confirm that.
So the life stage,
Yeah,
what you've
the
actually
different
got,
parts of the-
if you look at your 20 personas, they're probably 3 or 4,
Yeah.
but have multiple states.
Yeah.
There are different life cycles.
Yeah.
So it's not a different persona. I can definitely help you structure that. I'm happy
Yeah,
to
'cause they were
help you
mapped
out with
out
that.
by an agency, and it's so difficult to write copy that will
Yeah.
attract all of them at the first stage and then to divide them up.
So what you need to do in that case is you need to cut your copy by life stage and find the commonalities between your persona. Because you would have one of these for each lifestyle stage, or each, if they're a student, if they're a postgrad, they're a postdoc, they're a doctoral, they're a doc, they're a prof, they're all going to have different life stages and they're going to have different problems.
Yeah.
So cut your personas based on life stage and then look at the commonalities between them. You will find certain pains. There's only ever going to be 3 personas in your industry.
That's why
They'll
I
have
was
different life stages, but there'll only be 3. And if you do 3 times 5, you might get your 20 or 15 or whatever. But the key is when they're looking for you, where are they looking?
All through Google
You know.
Scholar.
Yeah, and you said that you're the enemy, but you're not, because you're actually the hero, because you're the solution. They can't get their product in the
That's the
journal.
thing, it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, but what do they hate about the
Paying us to publish.
so they don't want to pay you to publish?
Yeah, and,
So what do you give them in return for their money?
well, that they get into a journal, basically.
Recognition,
And then they have,
audience.
Yeah, reputation, networks are built from that. Then
Yeah.
they are springboarded onto a career, and then
So
jobs and everything.
Can you put a price on reputation? Yeah. You know, I can put a price on it. It's about 25 years of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to risk that. So if I'm a doctoral student and I want to be in that journal because my next opportunity, my next research grant, my next piece of funding is coming off the back of the quality of my paper,
Yeah.
I'm not going to risk my reputation by trying to self-publish it. I'm going to want to be in a journal. So what you're doing is you're actually helping their careers. And that's what you should talk to.
I would definitely straight away say, yeah, we charge this much because we've got so much overheads. And that is it. Simple as
Yeah.
that. There's no denying that we charge a lot because we are a big company.
Exactly.
Being clear, be honest.
You have to sell them the value.
Yeah.
You have to sell on the value.
Proposition is
Price.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always on the value. Your copy needs to be on that point. So yeah, you know, you could try and do this yourself,
Yeah.
but this is what it would cost. You've got to write a letter to the editor, you've got to have a meeting, they get 50,000 letters a month, you're going to be one of those, you've got to get in front of them, you need to write a synopsis, you need to do this. There's a lot of work that goes into your industry. I've worked with publishers. There's a lot of work before that thing gets approved.
How many other academics have achieved value from using your service in the past? See
Yeah.
how easy it was for them.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what we were saying, that it's the pain is usually the price that it costs by you.
The pain is not so much the price, because the institution would pay for it, but they don't have a grant to pay to cover that cost. So that now turns into a sales thing, and you can structure your sales process to offer a package.
Yeah. We've
You
got
know?
multiple sales deals.
Yeah. So I don't want to really,
Yeah,
we haven't got much time for that, but the pain is that the researcher needs to be in this journal. There's no other way to get in there without a lot of hard work.
Okay, so that's a journal, but in an instance of, say I go to a client and they want it in, but they don't want to go through the development phase, they don't want to pay for that development stage.
So if a client wants to be in, but they don't want to pay for the pre-work,
I need to find where is the decision for where's the budget sitting?
yeah. I mean, is this for the same question, or is this a different?
No, it's
Okay.
similar.
It's similar. In your industry, in the manufacturing business, so you flip mezzanine finance on its head. You know, with mezzanine finance, you get a loan, low interest, and then you pay a bulk payment at the end. You can say to them, look, we'll get you started, low cost. Once it gets traction, you give us a bulk payment, and you promise to make that payment later on. So reduce the early cost for a promise of later revenues. That's how I would structure that, and I would write content around that point to say, look, we're here to help you. We need you and you need us, and the world needs this product. Let's work together and deliver this product to the world. It's one option.
Yes.
Final question? Was that it? Yes.
You have to fix one thing that would get your followers from like 100 to 1,000. What would that be?
10 times increase on
Yeah.
followers. If
Well,
I could do
I
one
don't
thing
know.
to increase my
I don't
followers
know,
by
just,
10.
Just a small something that can actually
Increase your
higher
followers.
chance than everything else you
Okay.
can do.
Member get member. So the question was, if you could do one thing to increase your chance of growing a following, what would it be? It would be a member get member scheme. Member get member scheme is here. The people who have already gone through your process, they've enjoyed it, they love working with you, they've gained some great benefits. So let's tell them, look, invite 5 of your friends and we'll give you all something great. You know, and it could be, what's your industry?
Events.
Events, right? So it could be a free event. Usually the events are paid. Invite 5 of your friends and the 6 of you get to come to this event for free and everyone else is paying £200.
What can I suggest? Do a future event on the back of this. For those people who come here, you get free entrance to the next event.
Yeah, but bring a mate.
Yeah, that way you haven't spent anything free for this event, but what you've done is promised them, then you've already made a
you've taken some money and then you, that's quite clever.
You've already got
I have to figure out how to make that work on e-commerce.
Wasting your time as a lawyer because never give anything away for free.
He's a lawyer?
Why
Am I paying for your time now?
No. I think at the end of the day, I mean, that's it. It's like we can always give someone, if we can enrich somebody else with something and help them, I think it's always nice because
That's it.
I think, I don't know.
That's what it's about. Marketing in the modern world.
But it all depends on what your own ambition is and how you want to get there. Because we can always be rich tomorrow, we can sell drugs if you don't care about the consequences. But if we care about certain things, we're going to be the long road. And I think that's the
Yeah.
decision.
And it really is, but it always comes down to this. If it's a sale that's 5 minutes long or a sale that's 5 years long,
Yeah.
you will always go through these stages. I've seen it. I've been testing this throughout my career, and it always works. Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's going to be a very small, intimate affair, which is good because we can actually talk about what each of you do and like try and tailor the information to whatever everybody here is doing. So my name's Tom. As George said, I founded LSM Georgia a few years ago. I'll give you a very brief overview of what I've done in the past 10 years. I spent 4 years studying chemistry, then I spent 3 years in the corporate world for EY and Accenture, and then at the start of 2015 I left. And since then, I've just been selling things on the internet. Those things are physical products, services, people, then you sell people as part of the service, information, and events. And so what I've done here is 20 minutes, I've condensed 3 or 4 big concepts that have taken me like 4 years to learn about copywriting, that hopefully I can download into your brain so that you don't have to take 4 years of losing money and not selling stuff to give you that stuff. So that's my goal, and I'll check in at the end to see how I've done with achieving it. So the title of the talk, I probably should give a bit of background to this as well. What I'm currently doing is buying small online businesses and then growing them and then potentially selling them in the future. I've only just started doing this. And the first company that I bought is an e-commerce brand in the male jewelry niche that sells chains and bracelets. I don't have any on me today, but they're pretty urban and pretty gangster. We'll see some of them later tonight. And so most of this talk is structured around how I've been able to learn about the customer who buys the chains, because there was about 300 customers before I bought the business. So how I've been able to learn about them to more effectively influence selling chains in the future. So let's get started. And we're going to zoom out a little bit. I have a chair. I've been thinking about this very simplified model of business. Let me quickly explain. With Coca-Cola as an example. If you take Coca-Cola, they may have started selling their cans of Coke and they got some buyers and they generated some revenue. And then they invested money in putting information in front of new people, right? And then they got some more buyers. But when I say information, I mean it could be ads, it could be like a Facebook post, it could be outdoor advertisement. This is all like information in this model. So when they did that, when they invested some money in some more information, they got more buyers, and then the circle just kept going and going and going, and now the worth I don't know how many billion pounds, right? So I think that you can actually fit almost every business into this very simplified model. Zach, I met Zach about 2 years ago, and he has a physical product business, currently just in retail, right? Now, if you take Zach's business, for example, next amazing jackets he has on there, Zach could invest in some information, he'd get more buyers, which would enable him to invest in more information as he's going right? And so I'm bringing this up because, well, first of all, can anyone try and think of a business that doesn't fit this model? If we take Facebook, for example, they get us to create their information on content, and it gets them more buyers. Buyers here is people giving them attention that they can then monetize through businesses, and the people they invest to structure to enable people to create more information. So I think every business would take a life of you could probably fit into this model as well. It's just one model, it's not the ultimate model for the business, right? But it's just one that's going to be useful for this talk. Now, why I'm bringing this up now is because, or why you want to build a business like this is because one goal if you take a look at business from a very black and white, like cold standpoint, you're trying to build a cash machine. You're trying to say, I want to invest $5 in ads to get $50 back, so I can then go and invest more in ads, right? And so what I'm trying to do, say, with the e-commerce story brand, is essentially build a cash machine. I know I can go out and invest $5 in ads to get $50 back. Okay? And I think it is a very, very useful way to look at online business, especially, is investing and getting money out. But there's something called communication that has to occur when you send your information out if you want to get more buyers. And so what copywriting does, and what copywriting has done for me, is has enabled me to be more effective at turning information into buyers. So that's how I want to frame this talk, and that's why I think copywriting is actually very important. So the definition I like to use for copywriting is influencing with words on a printed paper. That's the most simplified definition that I like to use. So what then is communication? Again, I probably oversimplified this, but I think you can split communication down into two parts, which is content, which is what you say, and then context is how you say that. So the rest of this talk is going to be, we're going to spend some time on content, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on this NSS React. We're going to spend some time thinking about what you're supposed to say, and then we're going to spend some time thinking about how you say it. Okay? So that's my introduction. We should all have an understanding of why copywriting is important. Now, I'm kind of copywriting here, I'm being quite strong with these bullet points here, so it will take a second to read them. And one of the most impactful things I've learned over these 4 years is that people don't necessarily care about all these things. Like what your product is, why it's better than your competitors, how your product works. Like, none of these matter too much if they don't know one thing, which is what it means. Substitute for that phrase is emotion. So if somebody doesn't feel something, it's quite hard for them to take action. In this context, it's taken years to really work this out. And there's a couple of studies I want to bring up to highlight this point. The first of which is a very simple study. Sometimes I think they brought this up in the book, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. They found that there's a part of the brain is responsible for emotion. And these scientists found that when this part, they found subjects that didn't have this part of the brain. And the scientists found that people who started studying them, they found that they couldn't actually make any decisions. So these people were much more, they found them much more indecisive, they found very hard to make decisions without the part of the brain. That's the first study. And the second study is a study called the automation game. This is where 2 players in the game have to decide how to split 10 units together. And one player gets to choose how many units, how the units are shared between the 2 people. So they could say 5 and 5, they could say 1 and 9. And it's the other player who decides whether the deal goes through as well. And so they played this game with 1,000 people in many, many different places around the world. And they found that whenever the person who gets to decide the amount between the 2 people, whenever that goes to 6, like 6 to him and less than 4 to the other person, the person who gets to choose says no and they take nothing. Right? Now, what they derived from that was the fact that this person who's choosing doesn't like to see the other person get the better side of the deal, right? So even though they know they can either have 4 units or no units, they still say no because they cannot stand to see this person get the better side of the deal. And what that shows is that people are not actually that rational. So if you're 100% rational, you would take 4 and you wouldn't care about the person. But because we make decisions emotionally, that person said no and got nothing. So those 2 studies enable me to understand more about how we make decisions more emotionally, and why I think it's very important to understand the emotions your customers feel if you want to influence them. To make it a little bit more real, what I have here is my favorite advertisement of all time. Has anyone seen this before? It's brilliant. I could literally go and sit over there and you can study this for 15 minutes and you probably do no job. I think the copyright, the ad agency who did this, and that's great. Let me explain what I like about this ad. Can everyone read this? You never actually own a tech fully, you merely look after it for the next generation. It's very clever because one, it is saying, without actually saying that it's a very durable, well-built watch. But what it's actually talking about is what it means to have that father-son relationship. Yeah, it's an emotional thing, right? And then they show, they perfectly highlight this with this beautiful image and the perfect photo shot. So this ad agency, or this copywriter, knows that someone who's going to buy that watch, or knows how to make buying a watch mean something to the person. That's what I really, really like about the So we have another example from a copywriter comment. I'm not going to read this out. You can try and read all the way through it if you want, but there's one point I want to highlight. This was a Facebook post that I was using to try and put into a Facebook group to try and get people to upload, basically, that's all you need to know. But there's one point E here, which I think was the most important in making this post successful. There's other copyright points that we might talk about in a second, but call out comment. You see this, I'll quickly explain, this was going into an e-commerce Facebook group. And currently in e-commerce there's this battle between people that actually build real brands and people that are just dropshipping rubbish products, right? And so if you see what I'm saying here, there's a real business with a real brand that customers care about. What I'm saying here is to those people who think that they're building real brands, they have this hatred for people who dropshipping rubbish products. What I'm saying is, you're not one of those people, you're one of us. And for me, at least, I inserted that line because it will get someone to feel something, right? That's what it means to come over and join our blog, our community, is that we build a real business that our customers actually care about. So that's another example. Let's quickly go through the other things. Yeah, so actually, we're going to cover more what I'm trying to do for most of the talk is just give large principles that will change your understanding. These are little tips that will help. You can go back through the slides and read through this and take them afterwards, but I don't think it's that really that important. What's important to know is why I included that line and how it's attempting to elicit emotions. We have a quick mini lesson here. I'm just going to jump in. Okay, so this was that post, and this posted in a Facebook group, no promotion, and it received this kind of putting that to show that it was actually effective. Right. A quick aside, like a break in the middle of this talk on how to build a cult. Because I've found these 4 bullets here. They're kind of related to copywriting. If you're writing copy to build a community or to attract buyers, it's good to try and bring people into your way of thinking. So you can do this through 4 very simple things. First, you need to create a compelling vision of the future. So if we go back to my Facebook post, I'm telling people to come to our blog where we teach people we learn how to build a real business with a real brand. Trying to create a compelling vision of the future. Call out a common enemy. Think about the United States, for example, or Donald Trump coming to presidency to make America great again. He has a compelling vision of the future. He has a common enemy that I won't name them, but you probably brought up other people who were enemies of the US that brings people close together. Visible, audible recognition key, and we'll talk more about this in a second. How do you recognize other people in your cult? You notice any group of people that come together, they start saying things that they want to better words. So if you think about online marketing, they have that. And we can talk a lot more about this in a second with the chain business. And then visible recognition cues like net currency, which is probably not really relevant for anything we're building. But if you look at any country, you can probably see how they try to do this in their PR, in their broadcasting to their country. Anyway, so jumping back into the main lesson. So now we spoke a little bit about content, which is what you actually say. And my biggest point there was what you say needs to make people feel something. And always go back to that Philippe ad, where they're actually explaining to the person what it means to own the watch. And if you get that right, your copywriting will be 10 times better than anything else than your competitors if they don't understand that. Now we're going to move to the second part of the talk, which is context, which is how you say it. This will be a bit of fun. What we have here is an Instagram DM. So I acquired this e-commerce story brand, pretty gangster. We have one ambassador, this guy called Soul Core, who is a rapper in LA. Now, we just have DMs, and he says, like, I was just going through the history. This wasn't actually me before I started business, but I was going through the history to try and understand more about this guy and these people and why they buy it and what they're doing and what sort of things they say. And I came across this phrase here, this frosted stick. Now, does anyone actually know what that means? No, I have no idea. And I just Googled it and like 10 minutes research. What it means is, in like the rapper world, you have a gold chain and it has diamonds. And it has diamonds in it, it's like ice out. And so he's saying the frosted this and he's like really icy. When I saw that, I was like, yes, that is so good. And so what I did with this is I put it on the product page. So basically what I'm saying is, understand the vocabulary that your customer is using and say back to them. And then that means that the content is going to be much more effectively delivered through the context of what how they actually speak. So here's the product page. So here we go. So this chain is iced out. The frost on this chain is serious, right? So here's just a product page on the store, right? And I've just literally lifted that phrase on your own. What I should have done is track conversion around this page before and after. And so, again, going back to the content thing, I'm trying to get people to feel something on this product page. If they're going to make the decision to buy, let's go through this. So, some of this writing is a bit stupid, and actually not the best English, right? So this set is not called the Daddy for no reason. It's not amazing English, right? But that raises the point of me and trying to get someone to buy. I know that the people who are buying these chains, 60% of them, their education has not gone past high school level, and they have jobs in construction. They're not so educated, right? And so that's why that really isn't written down well, I think. But I think someone of that level of education maybe they don't understand it, but I don't want to use information or words that are so like sophisticated. And here I'm trying to explain, I'm trying to make people feel, or trying to explain to them how they would feel if they thought of the Daddy, which is this stuff. And we do actually set up some rules. Okay, so as well as, in summary, as well as communicating with emotion, try to understand how your customers or your ideal customers actually speak, and then package that emotion into the words that they actually do. And so I'm going to do a quick case study here, which is one single email that is sent. Okay. Before we do that, maybe we could. Does anyone want to volunteer their business, or let's say you're like operate for a marketing agency, you have a client, or you have a business that you're trying to pop around for? Does anyone want to volunteer? We can talk a little bit about the concept we've gone through with someone else's business to make it share. Yeah?
My company's called Infotech.
Cool.
We make textile pressure sensors. It can be a keypad on a ski jacket to work with the device if you hands-free gloves on.
Nice. Okay, so
like ski boarders.
is it like part of the jacket?
Yeah.
Cool.
It is a zip on the jacket.
Sick. Yeah, you can do that.
And you can do that.
Sick. So, I might put this out to the group. What kind of, so do you sell to the jacket makers or do you sell direct to the consumer?
Preferably to the jacket makers.
Okay, let's pretend that we're not selling to the jacket makers and we're selling this in a jacket directly to the consumer.
So users like the English girl who was in the snowboarding team.
Was she using the?
No, but I'd love her to.
Oh, no,
she
yeah.
has a Twitter page.
Okay, awesome.
So I mean, I've got her name and so on and so forth, but how do I get to her?
Okay, so I'd rather for this example do like direct B2C as if you're trying to sell it to multiple people. So, okay, so can anyone help me out here? How, like, if we're looking for emotion and meaning, how would you try and
Try to make a video of what someone would look like, how they would look.
okay, cool, yeah. And I totally agree, like video is definitely the best medium for this, maybe not covering, but again, for the scope of this talk, how do we communicate what it means to someone wearing this cool thing? What do you think? I don't know.
Never take gloves off again.
Never take the gloves off again. And it is like a real issue taking gloves off, honestly.
But when you ski, if your hands
Yeah.
get cold,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
don't take gloves off. Anyone who's been up on the mountain has to turn the GoPro on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But then-
taking pictures or doing stuff without the gloves on.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get very uncomfortable. And even if you're going down the slopes and say your phone rings, I don't think you're talking on the phone, that's really. If you had a button, you'd just press on your jacket or the walkie-talkie could connect, so that's really cool. You don't take gloves off, it's a convenience.
Biking, saving, walking.
Okay, so that's like a good hook, right? In terms of like trying to elicit an emotion for like how to get someone to act. The way I would probably do it, I would probably talk a bit about what it means to be like a skier who is not spending all his time like going through his gloves and he just enjoys like who can really focus on the experience of skiing and not having to deal with all that admin stuff. And so I would talk about, if I was writing a sale there or an email, I would talk about that. Like the feeling of like sliding through that maybe an hour back into all of that. And I think that would probably resonate with the skier, that would get their attention, and then we move on and talk about how we get that. How I would do it. I would also, in that, I don't understand how skiers speak because like I'm going to spend enough time skiing on snowboarding, but when I have, I understand that people have special words for like the types of power, even power, types of jumps and stuff. So I would make sure I understand how they speak, and I would talk about that kind of thing. So that's how I would approach that. To get hold of this lady, I would just send her free, like the jacket for free. If you have a credit card, I would just send her free.
And someone for free.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't even ask her anything to do that. And we can talk more about that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now this is an email where we're not actually selling anything in this email. There's this product which is actually a joint for people that smoke weed. They want to hold a joint on their chain. This was a product so they stopped selling it because apparently it's illegal to ship paraphernalia in the US. But then I realized it actually wasn't illegal, so they started selling it again. So this email is not trying to sell anything. It's simply to get people to do one thing, and that is to reply. So we're going to quickly just go through why I said what I said in this email, and I'll show you the results afterwards. So, okay, good question, and the pop quiz for the group. Why do I want people to reply to this email?
Database.
Pardon?
Database.
So I already have that email address. I think we sent out to 2,000 people that have opted in to us.
It's to gauge demand, right?
Yeah.
Gauge demand. Anything else?
Small commitment.
Oh, and why is that good?
Well, when people make a commitment, they're more likely to make more.
You're probably right.
No. I'll get you.
So, great. So when someone does something for you, then what happens next? Also, if anyone's into email marketing, if you get people to open, click and reply to your emails, you're more likely to get delivery email. One more thing, which we've already covered. You know that Instagram DM where I'm talking with people, trying to understand how they speak? I should have definitely included some of the replies, but some of the replies to this email were absolutely like gold. So copyright and like I couldn't understand them at all until I started researching what they were saying. And that's the kind of stuff I think is putting in another email or another project. Now, so I put this question in bold here because that's the one thing I wanted to do. I don't really actually care if they actually if they reply to basically. And I'm incentivizing them because we gave one away to all the people who replied. Now, I want to show. Okay. So, so here I'm saying like multiple things. Triple plated, 18K gold, nothing damage is done. Now that's not eliciting any emotion. It's like never take your gloves off again. It's good logical material, but the emotion is coming from here. Like the whole brand is inspired by like the New York hustler. The guy on the street is always trying to like make a buck. That's the way I sort of envision this brand. And all about, we have like a Facebook group with our customers, and it's called like the healthy movement where everyone's showing how they're like cutting nails, like make extra money, right? So that's the background to the brand. That's what this whole thing is built. So it is like the emotion. It's how we get people to come and join our cult, because they also believe in that through that. So that's like the emotional part, and then all of this stuff is like the logical things that people can use to rationalize their decision after they've made it. All that stuff is from the book Thinking Fast and Slow, where they say we have two thinking systems. One's really fast and emotional, and the other one's slow and logical, right? So everyone's making these emotional decisions really quickly. You don't even know that you made them, and we're rationalizing them logically afterwards. So that's why I'm doing that. So this is the guy, the rapper, that said the frost is serious, because I'm going to leave that. Okay, so remember I said about the cult thing, you need a common enemy, and America used like the terrorists. Here we're saying, I'm sort of bending the rules a little bit. I don't actually think anyone told the previous owner to stop sending these. So I'm kind of, I'm actually a bit grey there, but I use it anyway. And so here they are the common enemy. Like they're over there, we're like here helping trying to make a buck, and they're trying to like shut us down. So then makes them feel closer to us, right? This is what we try and do as a whole. We have like the mission of this company is that I found every hustler, and we donate $5 to it, so it's a community charity for every 2%. Do we think we should bring it back? Here we go. And then I'm just like, please reply. So, in summary, this promotion, the whole promotion didn't actually do that well. We felt like 6 of these, under $25. But this email did really well. So I also created a Facebook post, which it basically says the same thing, but the image is on there. Put on the page, and then like you can see here, we can actually see this live, right? So we get any good comments. Well, these guys sharing quite a lot, right? So, like, okay, cool. So here, instead of reply, I think I asked people to comment below, which is the basic concept. So this posted really well, and I actually sold some stuff directly from the email, even though it wasn't, we hadn't released the product yet. But I don't think I had the promotion right when we actually released the product, but I think the email was right at the time. So that's a case study, right? I'm going to summarize again. Focus on what it means for someone to become a customer, and then package that up in the context of how people actually speak. And then use those other tricks about like building culture as well, like layer them in. Let's jump back. Does anyone have any questions about that promotion or that brand, or does that all make sense?
Do you have an example more mainstream? One doesn't have to think up their language, you know, more, for me anyway. I'm a bit more mainstream than selling a joint.
Did you share this?
Personally.
Did you see this slide or did you this one?
Okay.
Mainstream, right? So
yes.
basically, like they're selling a relationship with your son, they're not selling a watch, right?
Yeah.
I'm selling them becoming part of my movement, where we all like hustle on the streets. So that's a very nice cool. Let's go back to the letter. Okay.
Hi. I think it's a beautiful case study. But my question is, why did you buy it? And how did you know it was underperforming?
Yeah.
And then following that, what was the copy underperforming also?
Yeah. So we'll I'll leave that question either for the question part at the end or for the afterwards. It's actually the first one. But so we'll be done with slides in a second, and then I'll answer that. Great question. Actually, I can answer what the copy looked like before. It was related to copyright. I thought it was pretty bland. I wish I could have saved the screenshot. Basically, there wasn't any reason for the business existing. It was more like, here's some people playing jewelry that they're trying to sell. There wasn't any emotion. And that's why. Well, we'll see the results in a second. But that's why I think that's what has changed. And that's what I think it's about. Final piece of information. Whenever you're trying to write any piece of copy, whether it be an email, a sales page, an ad, I use this formula for everything. With attention, interest, desire, action. So when someone's first starting to read something, you need to grab their attention, you need to build their desire, and you need to pique their interest, build their desire, and then give them a call to action. So let's see how I've done that. Sorry, let's do a very quick overview. So here, I think it's grab attention, right? It's like, should we release this? What is the jiggle we should want? Like it's both right at the top. Attention, interest, just talking about the thing here. And then hopefully I try and build some desire in here. Okay. Yeah, so here am I telling the story. Should we bring this back? Build a desire, and then action. And so that's like if you're stuck on writing an email or an ad, just write AIDA. Start writing out each class. Massively helpful. Okay, results. So this is Shopify revenue. I bought it here. We had a great month in February, and then we did B in February. Spent a little bit more on ads, we were testing. Right? So once I get the right revenue, so it's basically 6K a month. Spent 2K on ads. Okay, let's summarize. Understand sort of the information of the buyer link, and understand why it's important to build a cash machine, e.g. throw in this much money and get this much out, and how copyright can help you with that, converting the information into buyers. Understanding that we're not actually rational, and every decision that we're making is emotional. We don't even know we're making that decision, and we rationalize afterwards. It can have a big impact on your personal life as well, when you understand that. And you realize that you made a decision to do something, and you're like, why did I do that? And you have these reasons. You made it in your head, but actually this is something emotional. And part of that, know what your product or service means to your customer so you can try and communicate that. And that's the content. And then the context is speaking like them, so they feel like they want to be. So that will have more meaning for them. Use data and practice. The other thing is I've spent 4 or 5 years writing stuff to try and tell people things. And if you saw what I wrote right at the start, it was absolutely horrendous. None of this was included, it was just rubbish. And it didn't work. And then I slowly got better, and I think I still have so much more to learn. But the more you practice, the more what people do. Cool. That is the end. First question. How did I know the business was underperforming? I built an Excel model to value small online businesses. Now this model told me that I should have bought this company at 4.1 times monthly net profit or sales discretionary earnings. So he's had it for 9 months. It averaged at $2,000 monthly net profit. I should have bought it just over 8K. I bought it for 5.7K and 11K worth of stock, so it was actually $60,000. Well, it should be valued at $60,000, but I bought it for 5.7K. So I basically trusted in my model. The model wasn't that good because I didn't have much feedback loop to improve. And so the profit in May is about 2K, so I should get the initial investment back in 3 months.
Just turn around and sell.
I will, what I'm trying to do is essentially build a private equity company for small online businesses, so if I don't incentivize people to run them themselves. yes, I initially bought it to sell it. I'm actually really enjoying it though. This month I've really enjoyed. So I think that if I can have the business for 12 months and have like reliable, slowly growing numbers, instead of 20 clients a month in net profit, or that's like a return rate for business like this. And so it depends what the offer is at the point where I'm looking to sell. That's what and the answer to the top question. Any more questions about is it the business or e-commerce or copywriting?
Do you have any backlash from copywriting in that sense that you're trying to adapt their language?
Yeah.
But do you have any kind of focus groups, or do you just double check that the language isn't like patronising or?
Very good question. The answer is no.
No.
So yeah, but you've highlighted a very good point. Is that I've only had written communication between the two. We until today I had a phone line. And so the best way you can get information about your customers, it's like a hierarchy. The worst is email, then it's direct message, or like Facebook Messenger. And so I've only had those two levels. Then it's phone, then it's video chat, then it's in person. So I've only had, now I would have had the top three, because I didn't pick up the phone. So I don't know, you're right, it could have been patronizing, and it could have potentially been focus group. I think that's a really good idea, and I should do that. And so basically when people are going to be called in one group, chance to
But you did double check the language, so like you didn't understand the prospect and you weren't very double check.
Well, yeah, so no. I never, I never wrote something and then checked it with someone who would know. Like I did the research myself. Like so, I understood what it means to the best of what I could. And you're right, I could have been patronizing, and that's why it probably would have been more intelligent for me to actually speak with people about it.
I've got to write copy for academics, and they're so like above me in that sense that they know so much about their subject field. So I feel like any copy that I write is either too low for them or trying to sound too like convoluted.
What are you trying to say?
Everything, like journals in crystallography, physiology, some in academic publishing, so it's a hard, dry area. Trying to make it really interesting is difficult.
Do you have a background in journalism?
No.
Wow.
I'm a marketer that has no background in academic area, so that's
so
what,
on the dream.
I know, that's the thing. So
It's getting
that's the thing, yeah, exactly. And trying to do sort of an author journey so that they're like, you can publish with us, but they see us as the enemy. So the common enemy that you're talking about, we're the common enemy because we're a corporate, and they want to publish in the journals that we manage. But because we're a big corporate company that controls those journals, they hate us. And they have to pay us to publish as well, so they have to part with their money in order to publish. So it's really.
Could there be another comment? Can you make another comment?
No. I was thinking about like students because there's emerging careers. So like students are the start of it. No, not a common enemy, but to like build them up to be a following of ours. Sort of. Yeah, but it's difficult because we're seen as the monster.
Yeah, that's going to be a great challenge.
Yeah.
Who's the hero?
Much harder than mine.
Just every academic is the hero. So, yeah.
Nice. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
But look how Stephen Hawking managed to make himself a hero out of disability, really.
Yeah.
But he was selling his brain power.
Yeah.
Nice, good friend. Stephen Hawking. So, is anybody in the process of writing copy or trying to sell stuff to people in the market that they're not really that experienced in, like I attempted to do here?
I suppose
for the skiers. Well, so it's slightly different because you're selling to businesses, right?
Yeah, but I've got three verticals. One is fashion, workwear. So the same thing works in workwear.
Yeah.
So selling to a construction worker is a very different sell. And so that's one vertical. The next vertical is rehab and sports. It's the same market. The third one is the IoT space for old people. They're three very different offerings for the same thing.
Cool. Anybody have any other questions?
How many times do you kind of project you're working on, so you won't say that.
It depends how big. Like that email, because I wanted to like do it really well, I think I'm doing well writing it. Like basically, what I do is I write it out, and I'll go through the first draft, and then I'll like take a break, do something else for a while, and I'll come back through, and I'll just check spelling and check everything that's out. And normally, it'll just be 2 times. If it's something extra special, it'll be 3 times.
How much did that take?
I actually got out pretty fast. Like it was early morning. I just sat down. I was in a hotel and I had a black coffee, and I read like bang down 20 minutes. That's pretty good. But I mean the practice. So yeah, like minimum is like write it out and then check. But then if you're like doing a physical letter to 100,000 people, you're gonna split test. You're gonna get people to review it. That's one email or one Facebook post that you can actually edit that's going to 2,000. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of your copy in your Facebook posts is quite long.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, because you mentioned that 60% of your customers are not necessarily educated.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like even when I do my copy, that's way too long now. You know, everyone's attention span is super slow. So I just wanted to know, like,
I totally agree. I think that's almost a habit of mine. I've been doing those posts. You saw that the post in the first group was for like business owners who were more educated. So you're right. It's probably worth me testing shorter emails or shorter copy. What's the market that you're writing for?
So I have different clients, but my main organization works with emerging talent and creative talent.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to, either communicate content that can help them support their business, or we're trying to get them to come to our events, things like that. So kind of short and snappy,
especially on
kind
Facebook.
of works better. But then I did see that you have a lot of engagement, so they must be reading. I'm just
I think
was it the pictures?
Yeah, it could be. I think you're right. I think what I'm going to do next by email is I'll do the next time I do a promotion like that, I'll split test in long one and short one. I think you might be right. In terms of how long can copy be, if you can make the writing engaging, then I think it can really be as long as you need it to be. But also think about your marketing and their level of education. So that's good.
Well, not necessarily education, it's just what they like to know.
Yeah.
Maybe the first couple of lines is really like briefing them, and then they happen to like read through everything.
Which have you got?
Yeah. Just to see how.
Let's get 2 more questions.
My question was actually quite similar, so because my industry is fashion, but obviously, so
Images.
Images is more than 1,000 words. And I just wanted to ask how that would work. Is like basically you have short snippets and they wouldn't read anything more than 2 lines. And I believe I always have to agree with theories that that has a structure and flow. And I believe that we need basically pictures and words together to deliver that flow. To make it very easy to read. But the question is how structure it is. You almost need pictures,
What is the medium? Is it where are you trying to get these people's attention? Is it email?
Sorry. I could be thinking about, I don't have a particular project I'm working on right now, so I'm just thinking in general fashion, products or brands. It could be social media is the new big exercise now, right? Writing, I realized that writing caption on Instagram is almost a culture of its own. And then Facebook is basically moving towards only videos. There is no, that's from my own experience, that basically, unless it's moving, not even pictures, just videos. forget the rest. And videos, no more than 5 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe I'm a dinosaur.
No, but what I meant is how do you do this whole copywriting? That's why I've worked in fashion as an entrepreneur for 4 years. I actually never ever got into copywriting as such, apart from writing newsletters.
Which is, well, if you try it, it's not to do something, it's not.
Yeah, so that's the only kind of way that I can, but still majority is image.
Yeah. So what I try in the next email, which is like the AIDA formula, put images in like inside my email and see if you can get me to do something.
Yeah.
That'll be it. Final question.
How do you like, for example, for the AIDA structures, when you get to the fire investigators, or how do you pick the stories? How do you know which story will have the most maximum impact?
Yeah.
Because everyone is subjective, so I come from a technical background, my business is actually around completely different end of the door, it's around volunteering, doing good, so more human oriented. So my question is, I for myself will find certain stories more interesting than my target market, but because I'm not the target market, I'm not able to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
So how do you go about, how do you do your research to, I guess there are messages, but...
Yeah, so like these guys, it's like the hierarchy of quality of information you get from your customers. It's like email, direct message, phone, video call. One of the reasons I asked people to reply to that email was so I can get some text information about them. But what I probably should actually do is spend more time, if I can get them in real life, and actually ask them about what they're excited about. So then I can bring that back into the copyright. So I think that answer the question is just learn more about your target market.
How do you go about actually getting that story out of them, for example? This is what I'm interested in. How do you go practically get that pattern instigated that be something relevant from them? Because you cannot ask them, oh, what's your? You can ask about their needs, you can talk about that, but sometimes I find it really hard to get that specific information which actually is out of them.
Yeah, so...
Not about their experiences, it's not about their reputations, but it is actually getting them to tell you about an experience that is relevant to whatever line of operation you're working at. And it's really down to how they actually phrase it, and what they actually highlight, just making that experience.
Okay.
Yeah, what I've done in the past is I've put all the questions I want answers to in a survey and then email the survey to everyone. Even questions like what are your greatest fears and what are you trying to achieve? Just put in the survey, they're optional. So you don't have to answer. Final question.
No, it's just to help.
Okay.
There's a website called VoxPopMe, and you can pay £30 per question or per response. You ask a question, you get video responses.
And you can choose who you want.
You can choose who your audience is, and they will answer your questions for you. VoxPopMe.
Alright, cool. Thank you, man. Thank you for listening. We're going to have a 10-15 minute break now. And this guy in the back is going to talk. So what you basically heard there is someone who's had no formal training in copywriting. Someone who's just been trying and failing for 4 years. What I think we have here is a more structured approach to someone who's been in the game a bit longer. Am I right? Awesome. So we've got 10-15 minutes. Drinks are behind there and fast food over there.